Hi there, welcome to today's painting tutorial. Today we are going to paint an ice cream cone with acrylic paints, so let's get started. I'm going to start with a 0 round brush. And let's start by putting in some of the dark values. I have some of this bright red. I'm going to mix it with a little bit of burnt umber to create a nice dark shadow color. And then let's start putting that in around the edge of the ice cream. And if you want to paint along with me, you can get the link to the sketch in the description below. And now I want to get lighter. Let's see if we can mix some of this bright red with some of this pink. See if that'll give us a bright pink color so we can transition. And then I want to pick up this light pink and start feathering that in. And then we want a really light color, so I'll pick up some white and then put that in. It's a bit of a highlight. Okay, let's do that same thing with the next section. So we'll pick up this dark color and you just want to put that sort of where the shadows are. So on this side over here. Mix up some more if you need to. That burnt umber with that bright red. And I'm going to come under here because it's shadowy. And then we'll go straight into that red with the pink. And then start putting that in. Then I'm going to pick up the straight pink and start feathering that in. And then some white. And that will act as a highlight. Okay, now let's do this next section. I'm going to pick up that dark color and put that along some of these lines and curves. I'm going to put a little bit of blue in here and use that to create sort of a cool shadow. Okay, now I'm going to pick up the pink and start filling that in. Whoops, picked up the blue. And then I want a little bit of a yellow tone on the left. So let's pick up some of the beige color, put a little bit of that in there. And then I'm going to pick up some white and put that in as a highlight. Okay, and then the next section here, I'm going to use this dark red. And some of the red and pink. I'm going to pick up some blue and start putting that in on this side for a bit of a shadow. I'm going to rinse off my brush and then pick up some light pink and bring that in. And then pick up some white and put that as a highlight on top of the light pink. Let's bring this over here. I want these colors to blend together. Then I'm going to pick up some more white and sort of blend that in so we can get a little bit more of a lighter value over here. And then I'll put that shadow underneath here. Okay, you could come back and add some of these darker lines if you want to reinforce some of the shadow. We bring some over here. Okay, and then let's take a little bit of this beige and put that on this side just so we have a little balance here with our cool tones and our warm tones. Might put a little bit more blue over here as a shadow, just so we're consistent throughout the piece. Okay, so now let's work on these areas here. So for that, I'm going to take this darker color over here, put it around the drip, and then add some blue into that. And then outline this one. And then grab some pink. Put the pink into the center. Allow that paint to mix together. And then I'll do that same thing over here. We might get a little bit brighter on this side, a little bit warmer. We might not use those cool blue tones. And then we'll grab the pink and put that in the center. Okay, so fill that in, and then let's take some of this red, sort of go over this area because that has a bit of a shadow. And then pick up the white paint and put some little dots, sort of circular areas to create that highlight on the left side. That's where the light is hitting. Okay, so now I'm going to go back and put some white highlights in here. Just sort of reinforce some of these highlights to make everything come forward a little bit. Okay, so now let's work on the cone. And let's start with some of this burnt umber. I'm going to put it around the outside edge. Maybe put some on this left side. And over here where there's a bit of a shadow. And then pick up the burnt sienna and start putting that in next. Let's allow it to blend. And then I'm going to pick up this beige. Put the beige in the center. Okay, allow it to blend. And now let's bring that down this way. So I'm going to take that burnt sienna. I'm going to come a little bit on this left side, down along the bottom, and then down this way. Now I want to switch brushes. Let's grab a 3 flat brush. And I'm going to put some of this burnt umber. Let's come around here, going around that ice cream drop. And I'm starting to fill this in. I'm going to spray the canvas. Just a little bit of water, that's going to help the paint flow. Okay, so now I'm going to transition to a darker brown, or a lighter brown rather. So we'll take that burnt sienna. And I actually want underneath to be pretty dark. So let's take some of this burnt umber and go underneath here to create a shadow underneath the lip of the ice cream cone. Okay, and then we can get lighter. And we can continue to get lighter. And then I'll take a little bit of beige and allow that to mix with that burnt sienna. Just have a mid-tone brown and put that in. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit of a cool tone with this blue. I'm going to put a little bit of that on this side, just kind of making little square shapes. And then I might also put a little bit of pink. Okay, so let's let this dry completely and then come and put some detail onto the cone. For the detail, I'm going to take a 0 liner brush and let's roll that in some of this dark brown color. And then I want to make some lines for the pattern here. So I'm going to go from the top and then bring it down, kind of curving around to the side. Okay, and then I want to bring the pattern around the other side. So I'm going to come this way. And then I want to put some highlights. So I'm going to use a beige color. And then see if I can just go along the side of some of these dark lines that we just made. And then along this way, just little dashes. I'm trying to go close to the edge of that burnt umber. Okay, and then we'll put some highlights. So let's take that 3 flat brush and let's take some white paint. You can add a little bit of beige to it just to warm it up. And then I'm just going to put little highlights on this left side. Okay, just like that. All right, so you could stop here if you wanted to, or you can add a background. Let's try adding a background. I'm gonna add some flow medium to the palette. And let's use our fan brush. I'm going to see if we can get a nice light shade of blue, almost translucent. And then carefully put that around the ice cream cone, just to create a nice background. And you could also spray the paper. And that will help your paint to flow a little bit better as well. So I'm trying to go close to the edge and also allow that paint to blend. And if you want to switch, you could switch to a 0 round brush to get really close to the edges here. If you really wanted to do a nice, neat job to get around the subject, you could use a smaller brush and really take your time. Okay, so I have a light layer of blue, and then I'm going to try to pick up some of this pink and put some pink around the edges. And see if I can mix that with the blue, so it'll make a little bit of a purple color. And you could also add some of this white in there too, and that can help the paint to flow better also. And to create a more blended effect. Okay, so just a nice pastel background, sort of a rainbow looking effect there. Okay, and I think we will call this painting complete. Thank you so much for painting along with me. Like and subscribe for more painting tutorials. If you want to go deeper into acrylic painting, check out my program in the description below, The Artist Within, and we will see you in the next tutorial. Bye!